Hi, this is Dani from CRADLE of Filth, and you're watching Metal Wani.
Fernando, Nuclear Blast Office today with Dani Filth. Thank you very much for having us today. Greetings from Metal Wani. So CRADLE of Filth are back with another studio album titled
Cryptoriana,
The Selectiveness of Decay. So how has the fan response to the release of the video?
Well, I think it's pretty good. Don't want to blow my own trumpet. But yeah, I think, I know people quite like it. I think so, at least. We've got, almost 600,000 views in 2 weeks. And I quite like reading about people's reaction to it, mainly because it's a really good video, and I like the response to the video, not necessarily the song, but the video. And I think the song and the video combined works very well.
Yeah. Well, as you say, the video was shot beautifully, and as expected, got a typical CRADLE of Filth vibe to it. So I'm sure shooting this video must have been great fun. So how was compared to previous music video that you did in the past in other albums?
Well, what was different was the fact that we travelled to Latvia, and it's because the artist, Arthur Bazins, he turned around to me and said, well, I'm actually a better video director than I'm an artist. I was like, well, I'd like to see that. And obviously we realised that going to Latvia was going to be a lot cheaper than doing it in London, like anything is. Anything in the world is cheaper than doing it in London. And I was amazed, really, because I knew he was going to, the attention to detail was going to be there, but I didn't realise quite the scale of it until I turned up, and it was like, so many people working on the video, like huge amount, this huge studio. And there was one point during the filming where I was standing on a group of naked people, which is unique. And then I went, the hell was that? And they actually had a stunt, a bird. It was like a jackdaw, I think, like a crow, which they'd hired in, which is attention to detail, isn't it? Which I was most impressed by.
Yeah. So back in the days, Ben used to release many music videos and spend a lot of money on it to promote the album. So nowadays, do you think music video help promote still as much?
Probably not, no, because the music industry has obviously taken a bit of a swan dive because you've got Spotify and all these other platforms that don't pay you. So record companies, I don't think, are actually investing as much money. Well, I know they're not. It's just quite a simple math, isn't it? Don't sell as many records, people are not buying records, so the record company doesn't invest as much money. So I think it's important that you do, when you get the chance to do something proper, you do it proper, hence like this video. But bands kind of earn their money more from playing live and merchandise and what have you nowadays. It's a slightly strange set of events, it's not what you would expect, but unfortunately, if it's your job, which is mine, it's about mutating and surviving. And what that literally means is like when you get on the tour bus and go, I can't sleep in there, it's too small, and you go, well, sod it, you've got to. And that's how you kind of deal with the whole music industry nowadays, the fact that you just get on with it because that's your job.
Exactly. So the new album sounds amazing. I love the overall vibe on the record. It's also the second album with the latest CRADLE lineup.
Yeah.
So how does Cryptoriana weight up against previous albums, Hammer of the Witches?
I can't answer that question. We just do what we do, and we enjoy it. And for example, somebody asked me, what album have you heard more, what album you played more than any other album in the world? And I was like, the last one. Because you do, and you love it, and you nurture it, and that I come on a press trip, so I have to know every single part of it, but that will only stay like that until the next record. I know it sounds awful, but that's entirely the truth. That each album is a step forward, and it might not appeal to everybody's, ideology of Cradle of Filth. Some people want it to sound like this, want to sound like Midian or Cruelty and the Beast. But I think what people forget is, like anybody in any other band that I've ever spoke, if I speak to Tom Araya or if I speak to the guy from Emperor, you write music for yourself.
Absolutely.
And you want your fans to like it, but at the end of the day, you can't. If you don't like what you're doing, if you're not happy with yourself as a person, how can you expect anybody else to be happy with you? So it's kind of the same thing in music as well.
Absolutely. So how do you keep the material fresh after nearly 30 years? Does the lineup changes help?
Could you make me sound old now? Nearly 30 years. Sorry?
So how do you keep it fresh? How do you keep the material fresh? And does the lineup changes help with it?
Well, I think that's more to do with having a very, very, very good band around me, and they keep it fresh, and they, without sounding perverse, excite me, and they inspire me to come up with my ideas. And that's what keeps it fresh. They're just, like I said, everybody's into their. For example, Rich, our guitarist, total prog meister, loves his prog. He even plays like Queen the musical, and then you've got Ashok, who loves his traditional metal. Martin's just a musical genius anyway. Dan, who literally grew up in the last century, so he's only literally discovered heavy metal, and because of that he loves lots of old, like Running Wild. God, he listens to Running Wild. And then Lindsay as well, who's a different take on everything, because she's very much into the sort of gothic infused end of the spectrum, but it all works. It's sort of like little pieces of the puzzle.
So talking about Lindsay, she states that her contribution to the album were minimal, but her presence is undeniable, really. So the chemistry between you and Lindsay is phenomenal in so many tracks. Her voice, along with your signature vocals, got very well. So was there any difference? Have you tried any different thing this time with her?
As a band, the fact that we went to not Prague, we were about Brno in the Czech Republic to collate ideas was a new thing for this band. The little things I don't think really people would notice. I don't think they're of much importance either, like vocally. Hitting some notes I hadn't hit before. And again, it's going back to this whole thing where people say, you're not as extreme as you used to be, you lost your voice, and it's like, well, no, I'm trying to let people hear my voice. Anybody can go and sound like a dialect, but I maybe at this age I want people to appreciate, or maybe I just want to do it for myself, which is more important, to sing and sing in key and definition in what I do. So there's little nuances in the album that I could talk about, but people just be like, well, because that's so boring. And the way we recorded as well, we tried to record as much live. It's a bit like watching a movie nowadays. You get like bored of CGI, everybody's going back to the old school, like no CGI. I just want much like a video, just a video that's not shot in a warehouse somewhere, with a blue screen, a green screen, sorry. And I think likewise with the album as well, we wanted to record something that was just traditional, heavy metal, fast heavy metal.
Okay. So the album ends with Alison Hell, which again reflects your menacing musicianship. So you guys demonstrate that you're still a band which have trucks up your ghoulish sleeve, I would say. So
Ghoulish sleeve, I like that.
So how do you keep things fresh and exciting?
If I heard you correctly, with the whole thing with the Annihilator cover, for example, it's something that we wanted to do, and I know it sounds so cheesy when it's, oh, we'll do it for years. We have, literally since we formed as a band, and the only reason we've now got around to doing it is because it's a very hard song to play, very hard song to sing. And we met Jeff Waters, actually day after Halloween 2 years ago, literally stopped off the tour bus, and his tour bus had pulled up behind ours, and I was like, I went for a wee, I was like, really, it's Jeff from Annihilate, what's he doing here? You know, and then we met him like a year later in 70,000 Tons of Metal, and obviously bored him senseless by saying, oh yeah, I love you. And he just literally gave us the, yeah, I'd love you to do it. And I've sent it since to him, the track, and he was like, that's brilliant, thank you very much. Because he said, you didn't, I thought you were going to overplay it, as in, you know, you make it too orchestral, or, you know, change a lot of different stuff. And I think the only thing that we really changed is the drum beat in the last 4 bars. And there's, yeah, a little sprinkle in the keyboard, but very minimal, because we wanted to keep it as true to the original. And he was, to hear him say that he loved it was a cool thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So I feel the album is more metal than symphonic and clever in its simplicity. Was that something conscious decision to have less symphony sound and go more balls out metal on this record?
Again, there's no plan about anything. I know it sounds awful, and then people go, why don't you think about what you're doing? It's a case of us as a band just writing, and if it comes out the way it comes out, that's what happens. That's the product of it. No, I wish there was a plan, because a plan would be good, because you never know how a record is going to be finished or received by fans, and you would never know that. But then that's what keeps life fun.
Okay. So CRADLE of Filth are approaching the 50th anniversary in the coming years. For a symphonic extreme metal band, this is an amazing achievement, really, to have lasted that long and also break through the mainstream. So what's the secret of CRADLE of Filth's longevity?
Stuff. Literally, I don't know. Just a passion for what we want to do, and a hunger to just carry on what we do. We all, like I said, I don't want to alliterate this, but we just, as a band, we like a lot of diverse stuff, and we just like, when we get on tour, we'll sit down, for example, in the tour bus, and we'll argue about music, you know, like who wants to play the next song, that kind of thing. And that's good, that's healthy, and I think that's what keeps the band fresh, is the fact that everybody just wants to just make music, basically. Obviously not reggae.
Mm-hmm. Now, with your other band, Devilman, picking up more and more steam, is dividing your time between the two challenging for you?
Well, yeah. Stuff is always challenging, but it's fun. See, Cradle is obviously my baby, and you know, that's where my heart lies, because that's my career. Like I say, if I wasn't in Cradle, I'd probably work in a Burger King or Five Guys. But Devilman, everybody lives in my locality, and it's like letting off steam. I'm not going to be rude about it and say that, you know, I don't think about, but it comes a lot easier, because there's not. Cradle's got a longevity, like it's got a huge history, so a new album's always a challenge, because people expected so much of it. With Devilman, I can't do what I want, really. and again, a great bunch of people. I'm very fortunate to be in two really well, kind of popular bands with a completely different set of people in each one, and all of them are really cool. Otherwise I wouldn't do it, to be honest. I've got better things, I don't want to spend the rest of my life doing something I didn't want to do. And I don't. It's hard work, but it's gratifying because, like I say, I love what I do. Both different kinds of music, and a lot of cool people to hang around with.
Yeah. Now the last for you, could you describe the song of the new album in one sentence?
No. Yeah.
One word?
One word. Yeah. I made them on crack in a Victorian vibe. Yeah, and it's pretty hard to describe it. What I haven't mentioned actually, which I'd like to, because it's something that I've been doing interviews all day and I haven't actually said this once, is the fact Liv Christine, who was singer on Nymphetamine, she sings on the track Ventral Spirit, which is a completely different song. It's not a ballad. In fact, she plays a completely different character in it, and it's just like this fucked up ghost, basically. And nobody's mentioned that at all, and I haven't mentioned it the entire day. But I think it needs to give a shout out to Liv Christine because she's a phenomenal singer, and it's just something. I don't know why we did it. There's some questions that remain unanswered in life, and that's one of them. But it's great. I really enjoyed it because in the past people have said, "Why didn't you do another song like Nymphetamine? Why didn't you get her on board? And usually it's the record company wanting you to do something that's going to make them a lot of money. Mm-hmm. And we've got her back on board, but it's a completely different song altogether. It's like more of a thrash song than anything. So to have her on that, I think, is a really nice touch, and I hope people appreciate it. I just wanted to mention it because she's cool.
That's one thing very much. Yeah, she's an awesome singer as well. So thank you very much for sharing that with us.
My pleasure.